Thanks for joining the channel today. We're going to share with you our time at the Carolina Landing RV Resort. Hey everybody, we are here at the Thousand Trails Carolina Landing RV Resort. Now, I say RV Resort because that's what the actual name is, but it's not to be confused with an actual RV resort. This definitely does not have the full amenities that you would expect in a resort category of campground. And it is conveniently located about midway between Atlanta and Charlotte, right off of I-85. It's in the town of Fairplay, which is near Anderson, South Carolina, and it's right on the Georgia line. It does sit on the banks of Lake Hartwell, which is a huge lake. It actually has more coastline on this lake than the state of California. The lake is a well-known fisherman's paradise. This location is convenient to a lot of outdoor activities in addition to the fishing at Lake Hartwell. There are numerous hiking opportunities with countless waterfalls in this area, all throughout Oconee and Pickens County, South Carolina, which is considered the upstate of South Carolina. The foothills rise up into the southern part of the Appalachian Mountains, and there are so many waterfalls, too many to count. And if you love the outdoors and love hiking, I definitely recommend this as a good base of operations for that kind of thing. Some of the challenges with this campground is that the sites are mostly allocated to longer term annual renters, and there really are only a handful of sites, maybe a couple of dozen sites, that are set aside for more short term, a week or two in and out. Those sites typically do have 50 amp full hookup service, but the sites are small and they're terraced, they're situated on a hill and kind of terraced and cut into the hillside. And what that results in is very little usable outdoor area. We actually ended up moving to a different site after a few days. The first site that we were on, as soon as you walked out the door, you were faced with a fairly steep hill, and you really couldn't set out any chairs or create any outdoor space at all. So after a few days, we looked around and one of the end spots opened up further up on our row. So we went ahead and moved to that site. Now, all the sites that are in the area where for the short-term area, all of those sites are on the side of the park that is actually pretty close to I-85. So you really do tend to hear quite a bit of that highway drone noise. It's always kind of in the background. And that's not something I'm really a big fan of. Now, like I said, the majority of the sites here are set aside for annual long-term leaseholders. And in those areas, the park has really been not very well maintained at all. Some of the roadways in the park are very damaged, and you could not at all possibly take a travel trailer or a fifth wheel down some of the roads, and definitely not a motorhome. If you have a more of an adventure van type of scenario, there's some really sweet areas, some really sweet sites that are back in the quiet parts of the park, and that would be very, very nice, but it's not easily accessible by just any kind of rig, so you really want to keep that in mind. The park does have a couple of lodge buildings. Usually in 1,000 Trails there's a family lodge and an adult lodge, and on the map it's marked that way. But the adult lodge here has been shut down and really is only opened up for activities. So they keep it locked. So the other lodge that is open all the time does double duty as a family lodge and an adult lodge. Both lodge buildings are not very well maintained. They're really showing a lot of wear and tear. The furniture in them is pretty old, and the amenities as far as the kitchen areas are not very attractive, and the appliances are fairly old as well. There is a putt-putt golf course, and there is a pool. They do have some nice shade coverings for the pool, so that's convenient. And the pool is, normal size. It's not anything really big, but people have been enjoying it while we're here, so they do keep that maintained. The grounds maintenance here at the park is a little bit misleading when you first come in. When you first come in and you approach the check-in building, it is very nicely and freshly landscaped. There's some nice seating there in front of the building, but as you get into the park proper, you really start to see that the groundskeeping at the sites is not very well taken care of. As a matter of fact, we were pretty upset one day. We had been out all day, and when we got back to the site, and it was the new site, the second site that we went to, when we got back, they had cut the grass that day, and the grass had gotten very tall, and so the clippings were very, very thick, and they just left the clippings all over our patio, all over our rugs. Fortunately, we had taken up the chairs because they probably would have been a mess as well. Now, let's end on a good note. What did we like about the park? There are lots of trees all over the park, and I always love that. It's heavily wooded. There is access to the lake within the campground. There's a nice fishing dock, fishing pier with a couple of benches right on the lake. You can walk right out there and cast your line. It's a very picturesque area. You can walk down to the lake and enjoy sunsets down there at the lake, enjoy fishing. It is very peaceful there. As you're walking down to the lake, or driving, but as you're walking down to the lake, they also have cabin rentals, and the cabins look like they're in decent shape, and those are newer additions, so that might be something to think about if you're in this area. I do want to emphasize that the office staff were very, very helpful and accommodating, and they seem to have many plans for improving the overall experience at the park. While we were here, we did get to enjoy the local area. Part of the reason for being here was that we were meeting up with our sons to go on some motorcycle rides. Now, the weather did not cooperate. Our older son was not able to get down here from Charlotte, but our younger son was able to join us, and we got some rides in while we were here, so that was really great. We also had a chance to go into the town of Greenville, I should say the city of Greenville, and if you've never gone into the city of Greenville, you really should make it a point if you're in this area. It is a beautiful little downtown area. They have revitalized an amazing riverfront park that has a waterfall in it, right there in the middle of downtown, and you can spend all afternoon. There's a lot of great restaurants and a distillery and just great strolling and nice area to explore. So all in all, we give this campground a C. We may stay here again because we do have family and friends in this area, in this general region. So it's convenient for purposes of visiting with them. But I definitely would not recommend it as a destination campground. If you're interested in doing some fishing in Lake Hartwell, going out and about, hiking, looking at waterfalls, finding all the waterfalls, and checking out some of the cute little mountain communities that are around here, then this is a convenient place and base of operations to do that. But it's definitely not someplace that you just want to come and hang out here for 2 weeks. So I hope this review has been helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to shout out in the comments below. If you like this video, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and we'd love it if you'd subscribe to our channel. And as always, we challenge you to go find your adventure.